which I think is very apt. She's very strong on this map
Yeah,
because of
Savon.
yeah, because of the map mechanic and the pushing and how it works.
Yeah, she brings a lot of power to maps like this, especially other kind of objective pushing maps that are really, really strong with Sylvanas. So it's a really great pick to ban her out. And on the other side of 404, they end up banning out Zagara. Zagara is one of those heroes in the beginning does a lot of damage, and from what I've seen personal experience with this map, Tomb of the Spider Queen, is if you end up falling behind in that early game, it can hurt you later on.
Oh yeah, and Zagara, of course, her creep provides vision over both of the turn-ins. That's something that it's just incredible, the usefulness of having that. And so it's something that they're definitely going to be deciding not to have to deal with, is that looks like maybe with their picks that we'll get into, they're looking to be a little bit more aggressive and not have to worry about that.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll jump on over to 404. Right now, they have the pick on Tyrande and Diablo. Now, this isn't a combo that you see quite often, Gilly, where the overpower into the stun and just kind of melt. So I'm looking to see what their next pick is. And on the other side of Wild Growth, some interesting picks coming out so far.
Yeah, they went ahead and did their first pick of Jaina and now are choosing to follow up with Uther and Vala. So going for more of the ranged DPS, but still very, very effective, and then having some stuns as well in place, while Jaina and Vala can just sort of rain bullets and frost type damage toward them.
Yeah, Jaina is one of those heroes that started from the bottom, now she's here, I guess you can say. Best way to say it. She was one of those heroes that was never picked for tournament play, and now she's actually up there as one of the top contenders for that main spot as that main first picked. And as you can see here from that 3-pick, Uther and Vala combination with Jaina is just going to be so deadly on the side of Wild Growth.
Oh yeah, just by upping her damage of her basic abilities, it really made Jaina a lot more viable, and we've seen her in nearly every game now, whereas like you said, we hardly ever saw her before.
Yeah, she is definitely one of those rising stars in Heroes of the Storm at the moment, and I look forward to seeing what more she brings in the future. She got some talent changes, some upgrades in the last patch, really helping her out. But on the side of 404, they know better. They're going to say, hey, we have Jaina doing that burst damage. Why don't we just pick up the burst heals?
Oh yeah. Rhaegar, oh man, that guy with ancestral healing is just so difficult to try to burst people down with. And then besides that, the fact that he's got some added support with Tyrande, they definitely have a really strong setup as they go into picking out who they want as damage dealers, and they're going to pick up Tychus here.
Good choice on the Tychus pick, especially on this map. Now I could see them probably maybe going Laser Drill, as that's more of the common one. You also do see Odin still, so it's kind of 50-50 depending on how these matches go. But you definitely have that Rhaegar with that extra just burst heal, lots of heals going out, and then he has that second life for whoever he chooses with that ancestral healing. So very, very strong support from 404. And I'm kind of shocked that Wild Growth didn't end up picking up Rhaegar, but I can see what they're trying to work up.
Yeah, I think they're definitely trying to go with sort of a stun into allowing them to just deal a lot of damage with that, and actually picking up a Thrall before they pick up most likely their tank here. What do you think about Thrall?
Thrall, he's one of those picks you don't see often. Kind of, this is a hero that started from the top and now he's at the bottom. Kind of reverse switch here. You don't see much of Thrall at all at this point, but he does bring some good utility, some good damage to the team still, but just not an overall top-notch pick. And for the last pick for Wild Growth, we end up seeing them pick up Muradin. So that strong front-end tank, this is another hero that you have not seen much of back in the day. He was subpar to Stitches and Arthas, but now he's really making his comeback.
Yeah, I think I've seen something similar to this comp from Wild Growth before, and especially with the Thrall. And if I remember correctly, they used Sundering really effectively and just sort of hardly ever used it until they absolutely needed to separate out the team a little bit, and then they could use it in that regard. And so we'll have to see what exactly that they're going to be trying to go for here, especially as we remember that the lanes on this map are so close together. It's really easy to be able to gank people, and that's something that both teams will be trying to remember and be watching out for, or trying to execute themselves as they go in. It's something that they definitely could with an Uther as well, but so could they with Diablo and Tyrande for sure.
And unfortunately, 404 time pool is going down, and they end up last picking Zeratul. I can definitely see a Wombo combo, possibly from the side of 404. You have that Void Prison, you have Diablo with the Apocalypse, you also have Tyrande with the non-stop Lunar Flares, and Starfall. So it's a big setup coming from the side of 404, but overall, good picks on both sides.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really surprised not to see Kerrigan. I feel like I always see Kerrigan on this map, as well as Zagara, though she was banned. But it seems like we always end up seeing Kerrigan here on this map. She's so good, especially when you land the combos and you kind of pull people away. But we'll have to see what these teams try to do with who they've got, who they've ended up with.
That is for sure. So let's switch over to the other screen. And if you're just joining us, folks, you are about to watch the game of Wild Growth vs 404 in Go4Heroes number 19. I am Masai. With me is the famous Gillyweed from Heroes Hype. So as soon as this lobby starts up and we get into the game, we are going to showcase this for you. Now, this match is only a best of one. So winner goes on, loser goes home and drops out from this week. Now, if you're not familiar with Go4Heroes and the prize pool, the main prize is $100, but you get those bragging rights, and bragging rights mean everything in the esports scene. So that's definitely one that you want to be looking for.
Oh yeah, and on top of all of that, just being able to get practice in the tournament scene, there's something that is different even from scrims. Even when you set up a scrim where you've got picks and bans just the same, it's still a little bit different when it comes to actually competing for something and where you're on a stream. And so it's really good that we've got so many cool resources like this where teams can get that practice.
Yeah, it's really good for teams starting up, or teams that even just are midway through or high level that just want to get practice out there. It's practice makes perfect. So the more practice you get, the more better you'll end up turning out to be. So, loading screen is about to go. We see it loading up here, and it's going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen as we get into this first game of the day.
Yes, and we've got, let's see, we've got Wild Growth here on the blue side. We've got Blythok on Vala, Collusion on the Muradin, Jordo on Thrall, Okderic playing Uther, and Grim Reaper playing Jaina.
And over on the red side for 404, up top lane we have DJ Hellscream on the Tychus. We also have Rachu on the Diablo. I hold shift on Tyrande, very clever. Zaris on that Zeratul with the Wonder Billy, and we have Zergling on that Rhaegar heading down bottom. That's solo laning.
So it does seem like Wild Growth's playing with a couple of people that I haven't seen before, and so that, or at least one that I haven't seen in Heroes Hype, whether this is the original team or the one on Heroes Hype. But either way, it seems like 404 is maybe setting up something a little bit here. They're being a little more aggressive with where they're hanging out as they get ready for the first laning.
Yeah, nothing too pushing back and forth at this point. I think on the side of 404 they were expecting to maybe try and push out a gank at some point, but that didn't end up happening because, I mean, Wild Growth, they know what they're up to. They're experienced. They know when they need to watch out for those choke points and those sneak attacks. So definitely Rachu going in overpower on Kulu, but he's not going to be taken down. He is Muradin. He's made of steel, so he's going to stay alive there and just keep pushing.
And he's got little dwarf legs that are able to jump quite a bit and get away as well.
Hashtag dwarves.
Actually, Taronda's still not quite picking her level 1 talent, so taking a bit to try to decide which way she's going to be going with that. But as far as talents there, we've actually got a fight. I hold shift getting very low, trying to get away, taking quite a bit of damage, but going to be able to get away thanks to a bit of zoning from Raichu and Zergling as well. So almost kind of backfired on them a little bit.
As they started to go for the gank in the beginning, they end up kind of having it done to him. Zara's Lunar Flare out there doesn't from I hold shift, but doesn't do any damage against the side of WG, and ends up going where Zeratul ends up getting pinned out and taken down. So that's going to be 1 kill over on the side of Wild Growth.
Yeah, quite interesting there. And we do see Taronda actually finally picking up that Ranger's Mark. So now everyone's got their level 1 talents. And everyone's just trying to gather their gems and get ready, trying to turn in as many as possible and secure those first web weavers.
It's just constant pushing back and forth. I hold shift, taking a lot of damage, does not get any damage out there. Raichu, very, very slow kill, jumping over and blocking him with that body block, but he doesn't end up going down. And Zergling needs to get out of here. A lot of damage could come out from Grim Reaper on that Jaina, so he has to be careful. And Wild Growth doing a very good job so far.
Yeah, they're being very... not overly aggressive, but aggressive enough to stop any of the gank potentials. And actually, Blythehawk catching DJ Hellscream. They're just trying to run around each other up in the boss area, but Blythehawk will take out DJ Hellscream. And they're just continuing to secure more and more of an advantage here when it comes to experience.
Wild Growth is doing a very excellent job this match. And you can see the side of 404, they're trying to kind of get a gank here, but Bly knows better. I mean, he's not going to end up going in for that and falling for it. You can tell something's fishy about the way the lanes are pushing. And, wow, I just missed a Rhaegar. End up going down on the side of 404, down near the bottom lane there. Wow.
Yeah, I was trying to turn in, and unfortunately they haven't really been able to turn in anything yet. Wild Growth's doing an excellent job of stopping those turn-ins, in addition to actually stopping all of the ganks as well. So just really staying on top of this team.
Doing a really, really great job at the moment. And you can see it's going where I hold shift's taking a lot of damage up top from that Blyhawk on the Vala. Zaras ends up trying to go in, but gets knocked back there, gets out of the fight. And this is just going to be standard lane pushing at this point. But Wild Growth definitely has the slight advantage.
Yeah, definitely. We actually see Rhaegar took the far side, so they're trying to get a little bit of more of vision here, just trying to see where the other team is and hopefully figure out when they're going to be ganking. But that's going to be the first web weaver phase going toward the side of Wild Growth.
And if you are not familiar with this map yet, folks, the web weavers end up coming down when you collect enough rupees, as I like to call them, because they look like rupees so much. They end up coming down here, as you can see the little purple balls there. They end up coming to the first position where the minions are on your maps on the lane. So they end up coming down. They're going to be a major pushing force here, but they're not going to be able to do too much if you have members of the opposing team kind of doing damage to them.
Actually, I hold shift getting caught out of position there right toward the top turn-in. And she's going to go down, so they're going to be down one person to help defend here as these web weavers start pushing up against all of the gates.
Yeah, damage goes around on all 3 lanes. As you see in the mid lane, Raichu taking a little bit of damage there from the Jaina with the Blizzard. They're going to end up getting towers down, both towers down, and the gate in that middle lane. Whereas down below bottom level, Web Weaver just didn't do too much damage. Took the ammo out, which was, sufficient enough, but not overall too much damage coming out from the first Web Weavers from this side of Wild Growth.
Yeah, pretty good defense here on the side of 404. They have caught up in terms of talents, but they are still down level-wise, so they're going to have to be just trying to catch up here and not get caught out so that they can catch up and Wild Growth won't get too far ahead, especially as they head into getting those level 10 talents.
Yes.
Yeah, for the side of 404, you definitely do not want to fall behind on this map. This is one of those maps that are, again, considered to be a little bit snowbally. You can see Jordo coming down here, putting the stun on Zergling, but he's going to end up getting away and surviving with his life. Like I was saying, though, this map is snowball, so if you're going to have a team that's going to consistently collect those rupees and end up going for that level 10 first, it could be just a total in favor for Wild Growth at a certain point. So they need to stay in this game. They need to stay even level.
Wow, Octeric actually avoids the stun, the flare from Tyrande, and now everyone once again being chased back from 404. Wild Growth is getting very close to level 10, and 404 knows that. They don't want to get too far engaged into a fight because Wild Growth could get 10 in the middle of that and then all of a sudden have their heroic abilities.
And nice little retreat there from Octeric. He could be Neo from all we know with those kind of moves he has. They were pretty smart, but that's something we see very common from Wild Growth as they end up getting the second spawn of Web Weavers here at the 7-minute mark.
Wow. Well, 404 are going to try to pick up their bruisers and help at least a little bit with that mid push, but one more set of Web Weavers in a row is going to be pretty difficult. It's going to start taking down and a lot more towers and probably starting to work on those forts as well.
And from looking at it right now, we have 5 members of Wild Growth down bottom. They are going to severely push this out. And as you can see, they are already level 10. So just to go over real quick while they're pushing hard here, Ring of Frost on Jaina, Avatar on Mirrodin, Divine Shield, another one of those that you see being picked more than Divine Storm nowadays. For Thrall, you end up seeing Sundering. And for the Vala, we have Strafe, another classic one that you end up seeing nowadays over Rain, but it all comes down to what the opposing team has in their stun category, but Strafe is a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, it's just so much damage that if you can possibly take it, then you generally want to, unless you really need the stuns, or it's just not even going to be possible to try to get a Strafe off without getting it stunned out. Blue team has taken out the fort, so that'll be one fort down for 404. They have hit level 10 though, so they've picked up their heroic abilities as well, and those are Odin, Void Prison, Ancestral Healing, Apocalypse, and Starfall for the Tyrande.
Some pretty classic picks on the side of 404, as you can see over there. Void Prison's another one of them, Ancestral Healing. So it's none of the unusual level 10s like you've seen on the side of Wild Growth. VP does go out on Octek and Jordo. Raichu coming in with that Apocalypse. It does go off. Lunar Flare going out. Starfall also. But we do see that Jaina play coming out. Raichu just stuck behind enemy lines, taking a lot of damage, and he's going to end up going down there. I hold shift. Just a little bit too far back and ends up getting slowed and destroyed. So that is going to be a fight on the side of Wild Growth as they have still 9 kills to nothing. That's insane.
That Ring of Frost from Jaina was perfect. It stopped Zeratul, and Diablo trying to figure out what to do about it actually just gets cut out as well, and then same with Tyrande. So it was so good in catching just one person out and then obviously making the fight sort of snowball from there on the side of Wild Growth.
Yeah, Wild Growth is definitely growing over this map, should I say.
Even wildly, maybe?
Well, it could be. I mean, it seems like they're out of control. It's just Grim taking a lot of damage from Zaris over there, but he's going to end up getting out with the help of Jordo. Nice little defense from Jordo. Good job on that. Surviving Grim, keeping Grim up like that. And I think this is going to be another engage. As you see Killzoo going in on DJ Hellscream. We have Stripe going out from Blyhawk. A lot of damage coming out from that Blizzard from Jaina. DJ Hellscream on the retreat. He's getting stunned. Diablo also getting taken down. And that is another victory for Wild Growth as they are up now 11-0. And they have 36 rupees, 39 rupees ready for sale. And I hold shift. Just getting blasted by that stun and damage overall. Whew.
Yeah, just the damage from Thrall and Vala and Jaina is so much. Especially when you take into account the stray from Vala as well. They just have a commanding amount of damage in every single one of these team fights.
And it doesn't help that Wild Growth has a whole talent choice over 404 at this point. They are down a full talent right there. So it's hard for them to kind of, they need to just get that experience. They need to kind of farm lanes to get them back in that experience. But as you can see, it might turn in their favor as the red side, 404, has finally acquired some web weavers as they head over into their lanes.
Yeah, this could be some time for them to get some experience finally back by taking out some structures and getting up to those level 13, but they've got to be careful because Collusion's already coming in. They're going to be trying to catch somebody here. They've caught Zergling, and the Sundering from Thrall pushes them back, but meanwhile, Jaina gets caught out trying to ring across the rest of the team, and Zergling does Ancestral heal himself. So everybody's moving back now. Wild Growth is down a person. Jordo actually getting stunned from the Apocalypse. Really needs to get back. He's trying to move back, but the overpower from Raichu will put him right in the line of fire of DJ Hellscream. And that's actually going to be 2 people down on Wild Growth, and this is going to be a fort for 404, and they are coming back.
Yeah, 404 is definitely not saying this game is over. And just to go recap on the bottom lane, Webweaver is still down bottom. And it looks like we have Zeratul Zara's coming down to actually help that Webweaver push a little bit more. So I think they want to acquire these 2 outer keeps like this, these 2 outer forts. And in the middle, Grim Reaper doing a bit amount of damage with that Blizzard. DJ Hellscream in that rough position, not good for him. Bly coming out with that strafe, doing a lot of damage. I hold shift. Is he going to be able to get out of here alive? And no! Jaina with that damage from Val especially. Zergling, ooh, just getting minimized with that Shrink Ray, and it's not looking good again for 404. I think they overextended, and they should have just retreated.
Yeah, they were trying to get some towers down, or at least keep everyone busy while they could take out that bottom fort, which they did get, which caught them back up in experience, but once again went right back down in experience. And now, because they've got 2 people down, there are blue web weavers descending, and Wild Growth is picking up the boss and about to get to level 16. That's a lot to have to deal with.
Yeah, that is for sure. Web weavers, you have this boss. You're going to have level 16 talents, which are crucial. This is looking very, very rough for 404 as they have to be on that defensive end now. And most definitely that top fort is going to be going down. There's no question about it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case. There's a web weaver throwing stuff on it from behind with the boss wailing on it right next to it. And actually, the Sundering comes in. They're going to catch Xeris out very quickly and take him out. Now Ring of Frost catches, oh my gosh, Zergling and Diablo. Both of them are getting caught out and also going to go down. And that's 3 heroes again down on the side of 404 as Wild Growth is going for the keep.
Very, very good job from Jaina on the Ring of Frost there from Grim Reaper SF. Very well positioning on that retreat. Ended up getting a couple of them in it. If it didn't end up freezing them in place, it ended up slowing them. So very good job there. Like we were saying previously, that top fort was going to end up going down regardless of the outcome of that play. And as you can see on the map, Web Weavers are still going at it. Even though they're low health, they continue to strive on. And look at bottom lane here as it's still pushing. It's going to end up taking this tower out. And all of these inner keeps are, you know, they're left unprotected. There's no towers or gates up.
Yeah, a lot of structures down on the side of 404. They are going to go back, try to take their bruisers, just kind of move back into getting those lanes pushed back out. But Wild Growth are doing the same. And, you know, I want to mention on that Ring of Frost, a lot of people just like to take the water elemental, but I think there's just so much to be said for Ring of Frost, especially if you're very comfortable with Jaina and know where to place it. Because even if somebody doesn't get stopped by it, but they're in the middle of it, they still can't go anywhere, right? They've got to wait until it goes away, and that still keeps you way out of position and allows your team, like Void Prison, to kind of move around and get into position to take you out.
That's for sure. We see in the middle lane, 404 just kind of clearing the lane, trying to get that experience boost. Now, at this point, Wild Growth is projected to hit level 20 first, and this could be crucial in later game, because if you get that level 20 Storm talent tier, it's going to be rough for the opposing team to kind of have any say in what that team ends up doing. So they need to just stay up in experience, clear lanes, and not get caught out. If somebody gets caught out at this point, Gilly, it's just it's going to turn south very fast.
Oh yeah, getting caught out in the late game in Heroes can definitely mean game. Now we've got Wild Growth turning in a little bit. This is a good time to try to make something happen as far as a team fight on the side of 404, because they do have their level 16 talents and they've got a couple of levels before they have to worry about engaging into those level 20 talents. So this would be a good time.
If they can get an engage right now, follow up with it, and get some of the members of WG out of this game at the moment, that would help them a very good amount. As you can see, they're going to try and do just a party bush here. Well, not a bush, but a cloud, I guess you can say.
Party cloud.
A party cloud, but they're not going to fall for it. They know better. They know something's fishy. They don't see them on the map, so they can figure out that, hey, they're probably hiding somewhere and trying to gank us. So let's just fall back, clear the lanes while we go, and set up something ourselves.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're all set up around that top turn-in. Raichu actually going in, but not going to go too far and actually taking a lot of damage at this point. There's the Void Prison and the Starfall, and followed by Apocalypse. This is 404's chance. They've caught Grim Reaper. She's right in the middle, but she drops the Ring of Frost. And there goes Xeris as Zeratul. Jaina will go down now. I hold shift getting very low, will get taken out as well. Now Diablo is stuck between a rocket and 3 members of Wild Growth trying to get away. Collusion jumping in on Tychus. He knows his team's got the Diablo, and they did. Now they want to catch out DJ Hellstream, and he will also go down. And that's going to be 4 members down. Diablo is back up though, but still 3 other people are down for several seconds on 404.
Yeah, that team fight just didn't work how 404 was expecting it to, with the kind of combo they had lined up. In the end part of that fight, I'm not sure why Tychus ended up sticking around, especially when you're in that Odin. Your mobility is kind of you know, you do have the rocket thrusters, but you don't have great movement speed to begin with, so why not stick around when all your members are already gone and passed on? Just kind of retreat. Overall, Wild Growth definitely dominating this game. They are going to hit that level 20 first. And as you can see from the kills, just 22-3 at this point.
Ooh, yeah. I'm surprised the experience differential isn't more with all of that, but 404 doing a good job of at least soaking as much as they can. However, there are the Storm Talents up now for Wild Growth, and they've got some Web Weavers descending, and they're going to push really, really far in all of the lanes.
Yep, this is going to be a push. As you can see up here on the map, this is where the minions are on the top lane. So the Web Weavers get all that free roam to come all the way down here and set up shop. So this push is actually going to start here and not back in their own kind of keeps and areas like that. So this push is going to be really, really strong coming through here. And like we said, they are level 20 Storm Talents. It's going to be rough for the side of 404 as Raichu tries to kind of poke in there and maybe think about getting something, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Lunar Flare does go out on the Web Weaver. It's not going to get any members of Wild Growth as they kind of just back off and say, you know what, we're happy with that push. Let's go to mid.
To be fair, 404 has kept that top keep alive for a long time through several pushes from Wild Growth. So they are doing a great, like an admirable job defending, but the bottom keep has gone down, so now there is the first keep down, and it will be on the side of 404.
Yeah, first keep down for them on the bottom lane. That is going to be open to catapults in the near future. And Wild Growth still over the experience. They are 20.5 at this. And while on the side of 404, they're still not at that point where they can capture these. We might see a team fight coming up here as Killu, he wants some blood from DJ, and Killu's going to end up going in. Lunar Flare coming down from I Hold Shift, but that Ring of Frost from Jaina going out, putting them all in a hold. Apocalypse goes out from Diablo, not going to be enough to stop the rest of the team. Raichu taking a lot of damage, and we see Tyrande getting melted. Zergling in the middle of 4 Wild Growths, not going to be enough. Zaurus goes down, and DJ Hellscream is the only one left in that Odin suit. Can he escape? But no, and that is going to be a team ace, team wipe, going towards Wild Growth there. Great play.
Oh yeah, they're actually going for core. They don't have Vala or Jaina here, though, and I think that 404 did an awesome job of trying to target and take down Vala and Jaina, but the positioning of Vala and Jaina were so good that they were able to stay back and kind of put them at the mercy of the Thrall and the other members of Wild Growth. And so they are just hammering away literally on this core. It will be game for them regardless of their DPS for those three. And first game will go to Wild Growth.
Very good job from Wild Growth, that is for sure. Again, they are dominating.
Yeah, for sure. Some really good play. Every time I've seen Jaina and Vala on one team, it's spelled disaster for the other one. Oh, yeah.
And I completely agree with that, especially Uthra and the stuns. Now, we didn't see Divine Storm being played this game, but you do see Divine Shield, which is one of those level 10 skills that you haven't seen much. It's starting to pop back up in the actual competitive scene, and it's really, really great skill to cast. I mean, you can stand and take no damage. You're pretty much invincible, and it helps so much in these team fights.
Oh yeah, and it's so versatile too when it comes to you need to cast it on the tank because they're way up in front, or if the whole team goes in and tries